Hi YouTube, it's Laura, Queen Lullaby, making my first post-op video. This will be post-op week 1. It is August 1st, and I had my surgery a week ago today on July 25th. That day started out a bit rough. Turned out that though I thought my surgery, I was supposed to be at the hospital at 5:30, it turns out they bumped me 2 slots without telling me till Friday before, and then weren't really completely clear in that notification. So, I went to Seattle early so that I could be there early, and turns out that I had 4 hours to kill, which I didn't sleep, so that was just more time for me to get more anxious, and I was extremely anxious. So anyway, my husband and I get to the hospital at 9:30. We check in. They take me back to their quote-unquote pre-op area, which is basically just a place where they make you change into a gown and sit in a chair. They come and, have you put all your belongings and all your clothes in a bag and ask you a bunch of questions that they're going to ask you 6 or 7 more times during your hospital stay. And then you sit there. They don't start an IV. Nobody comes to talk to you. They don't give you anything for anxiety. You just sit there. Hold on. You're going to have to just walk through here. Sorry, my husband was coming in from being outside.
Hi.
Anyway, I sat there. And finally, one of the CNAs was nice enough to come over and give me a blanket because I was starting to get cold. And at that time, she told me that Dr. McMahon, my surgeon, was running about an hour and a half behind, and so my surgery, I wouldn't even be going up to meet anybody until after 12 o'clock. That's when my surgery was scheduled, was for 12 o'clock. So I sat there, and I guess it was about 11:45. Finally, somebody came down and got me, and I went up to the actual, I guess, PACU, like pre-op area, where they gave me a bear hugger, which is this warm thing, which made me really too warm. And the nurse came over and talked to me, and this is where the experience got a little bit better for a while, because everybody was very nice and addressed my anxiety, and the anesthesiologist came over, and he put an IV in. He didn't give me anything, but he told me he would give me something when I got into the OR for anxiety while they were prepping me and everything. They gave me my Lovenox, which is kind of like heparin, but it's an injection to keep you from clotting. And it wasn't very long before the OR nurse came out and wheeled me away, and I kissed my husband goodbye, and they took me into the OR, and they gave me some Versed, which made me feel, well, they didn't give me enough to knock me out, but it made me feel kind of, woo. And then slowly but surely, I remember them putting a mask over my face. The next thing I remember, I woke up in the recovery room. And I had a very, very nice nurse. I want to say his name was Mark. And he was very, very nice and very attentive. And I was only mildly in pain. Wasn't very bad at all. And I wasn't there for very long that I know of. My husband said I was there for a couple hours, but So then they took me to my room, and I was in the ICU, which I kind of sort of anticipated, but it would be nice if they told the patients that there was a very good chance they'd be in the ICU so that they didn't freak out. apparently I had a little bit more bleeding than they had expected. So they usually send the patients to ICU after Roux-en-Y for the night, but the surgery, I guess, had gone a little longer because I had a little bit of extra bleeding. So I ended up with the 5 trocar sites and then a JP drain to drain the extra blood that was around my new pouch area. So really, my experience in the intensive care unit was really great as far as the nursing went. I had a female nurse for about 2 hours, and then I had a nurse whose name was Paul, and he was delightful. And the next morning I had a nurse named Joe, and he was awesome. And then the next night I had this other nurse who's kind of old school, and she kind of babied me a little bit, which really upset me because I wanted to get up and walk. I mean, I got up and walked the first night, and, that kind of impressed them, but I knew that it was really important. Anyway, so by the second night, it became very obvious that I was not making enough urine. And I was starting, even though I was getting up and walking, I was starting to feel a bit more lethargic. And, oh yeah, I forgot to say, I ended up staying in the ICU the second night because, 1, they didn't have a bed. 2, I wasn't making enough urine. So they wanted to watch my urine overnight. I don't know exactly why they kept me there. Oh, that's right, because my SATs dropped. My SATs kept dropping, my oxygen saturation, even with my CPAP. Because I was having a lot of what they called central apneas, which is basically isn't controlled by the CPAP at all. It's just left over from anesthesia. It's where you kind of stop breathing when you fall asleep. So they kept me in the ICU. And then it turned out that night that I wasn't making enough urine. So they kept giving me boluses of fluid, more and more and more fluid, until the next day, I'm still not making very much urine. And I say to the nurse, you know what? I don't feel like myself. One thing that was good, that I thought was good, was I was having bowel movements. But in hindsight, I think the only reason I had bowel movements was because I had so much blood in my bowel that I was just passing the old blood. But anyway, I was passing gas, I wasn't having a lot of pain, but I realized that my whole lower body seemed like it was all hard. And I mean, it was puffy and it was swollen and it really hurt. And it turns out that I was third spacing, which for those of you who, don't have a medical background, basically means the fluid was going into my blood vessels and then leaking into my tissues. It wasn't staying in my blood vessels, and my kidneys wasn't getting to my kidneys to perfuse to make urine. So they gave me Lasix, and that, filled up my Foley, and then, eventually I'll give you guys another story later about when they switched my PCA, my pain button, from Dilaudid to morphine. And it turns out I don't ever want to have morphine again because it makes me hallucinate. Because my other complication is that anesthesia and narcotics make me very, very itchy. So, that being said, and being miserable in those ways, for the most part, I had a pretty good experience. They sent me up to the med-surg floor the second night. I had to stay extra day. And, the nursing care was okay up there, but it wasn't as good as it had been down the ICU. I had my own issues up there, but nothing major. And I ended up getting more Lasix after they took my Foley out. I was able to diurese just a little bit. But I gotten weighed in between the first and second dose of Lasix. Okay, here are some numbers for you guys. The morning I went into the hospital, I was 246.2 pounds. Considering I had nothing to eat or drink, this just doesn't surprise me. It's down like, what, 1 or maybe 2 pounds from the last time I'd weighed myself. So, you know, that was pretty good. Second day post-op, I was 268 pounds, guys. That's 26 pounds of water I was carrying around. I got discharged Thursday morning, well, early afternoon. Came home. My mommy stayed with me a couple days, which has its pros and cons because she drives me crazy and she's kind of disabled. You know, I usually take care of her, but she really, really wanted to take care of me. So she was here for 2 days while my husband was, she came Thursday night and stayed Friday and Saturday when my husband's working. And I've been feeling kind of draggy, a little bit of pain, been taking my oxycodone. And I think I finally turned a corner yesterday on Sunday. Started really peeing a lot. I mean, I've been peeing okay since I got home, but I started peeing a lot. Like I was totally starting to get rid of that water that was on me. So I stepped on the scale. I believe it was yesterday. And I was back to my pre-surgical weight, which was 246, which, I mean, that's nice. Granted, it's not really a loss. And then today, it was 243.8. So that's like 1.5 pounds. No, wait, that's more. That's like 2 pounds. Anyway, it's a loss, and I'll take it. And I think that I'll start losing quite a bit more now that all my water weight is off. I've been pretty good about getting my fluids in for the most part. However, getting my protein shakes in has been a challenge because my doctor's office doesn't leave a lot for us. They let us have low-calorie liquids throughout the day, and then we're supposed to drink. They're like stuck on this one brand, which I'm fine, Nectar Protein. I was using them before I even started this weight loss program, but I think it's kind of proprietary if you ask me. I have lots of other proteins here, and I've been kind of mixing it up, and yesterday I had a little bit of egg flour soup from my favorite, Pan-Asian takeout here in town. It's really good. And I've been trying a little bit of other different proteins and just trying to hang in there. So if I haven't bored you to death by now, I'll try and check in at least next Monday, if not sooner. But for those of you who were worried, I'm alive and I'm doing much better. I just haven't been feeling very well this week until today. I think today's been my best day. Hopefully tomorrow will be even better. So take care, and I'll see you next time.